swinging door. I know it's pushing away from us, but the idea is we're going to be on the outside, right? Likewise, the other way, we'd be looking at an outward swinging door because I'm trying to pull it towards me, right? We're always playing the game like we're on the outside because that's what we need to do. All right? Now, there's one little thing that we've talked with Greg about that we're going to add on to this as well, and that's a door jam. All right? It is missing on this, so I'll explain a couple of techniques. Because of the door jam, I won't necessarily be able to show you, right? What the door jam actually gives us is another obstacle to get around. Something else we're going to need to work around. And you guys know what I mean by a door jam? It's a little piece, basically, if you look at this door here, this is an inward swinging door. And inside, you can see how it comes to rest. We've got this thin part right here that it comes to rest against. So that's actually something we need to work against and we need to work around, right? And we need to work around it by using our tools. You guys know the tools we're going to be using for a forcible entry typically are going to be our irons, right? And you guys all carry irons on your truck. Saw these really nicely together in Scotch Creek. Really happy to see that in the truck. You can actually get straps to keep them together, and they nest really nicely together. The number one rule that we need to know and consider every time when we're considering forcible entry is try before you pry. Okay? We're not going to break into a house where the door is unlocked, right? We're always going to try the door. If I go and I try the door, and I'm like, oh, all right, what the hell am I going to break the guy's door down for? Right? It's a good rule to think about is we want to try before we pry. Our next step that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to size up. What are we dealing with? All right? So what I'm looking at when I size up is I'm going to start out, so starting at the building, what's the building materials? So is it masonry? Are we talking wood frame? What have we got on the outside? Looking in, and we're going to start looking at the jambs. We're going to start saying, okay, do I have wood? Do I have steel? What am I going to be, like how much give is this going to have? What am I going to have to get around it? Look at the jambs. Look at the door itself. Look at the locking mechanism. Are there multiple locking mechanisms on it? Where are we going to have to get around, right? Which side are the hinges on? All of that, right? And that's really what our size up is, right? It doesn't take long, right? It's looking at the door and saying, what have I got to deal with here? All right. So very important, and remembering our PPE, right? I want to see everybody doing this. I want your helmets on. We're going to be putting our visors down for eye protection. I want your gloves on, all that, all right? So I'll start by setting a good example. Now with forcible entry, there's three stages that we want to think about. Gap, set, and force, all right? First, we need to create an opening. We need to gap it enough. We need to make enough of a gap that I can get my tool in, right? So we actually have to create that space. Once we've made our gap, we're going to try and set our tool. And we're going to set the tool, and typically when we're setting a tool, we're going to want to set it as close to the locking mechanism as we can, all right? Because that's the part that we need to overcome, right? If it's a deadbolt, whatever kind of locking mechanism it is, that's what we have to get past. So we want to be as close to that as possible. We get too high up, we're going to start bending the door, right? We can start breaking it. We can start skinning the door. We start skinning the door. It's going to be even harder to get in at that point in time, right? We start taking pieces off of it, less purchase point, less places for us to get the leverage that we need to get that door forced. All right? So on an inward swinging door, typically we are going to have, like I told you before, that jam right there, right? That we're going to need to go around. Actually gap it by having our tool straight out. Using this flat part here on the Halligan. Who knows what that's called? Anyone?
Flat part.
All right, not bad. No, the adze. All right, that's called the adze. So when I'm talking about the adze, and we should all use proper terminology, all right? We got the adze, the spike, the forks. All right? So that way we're all using the same terminology. So I'm going to take my adze, and I'm going to want to have it in the jam. All right, and we don't have a jam here, so I'm just going to have to simulate this. We'll likely have our partner come over, strike the tool a couple of times, and then we're going to probably want to pry down and try and make a little bit of room. Prying down, and by prying down, you're going to release that jam enough that we're going to be able to get in at the locking mechanism, right? So we've done that. I am going to need an assistant for showing the inward swinging door. Who wants to be my assistant?
She's already on.
She's already, yeah.
She's already set up. All right. Let's do this. All right. So for the inward swinging door, once I've gotten a little bit of gap, I've made a little bit of room there. All right. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to use the fork end of my Halligan bar All right, and I'm going to want to place that just above. Okay, and this is, we'll talk about this side being the beveled edge. All right, beveled edge towards the door. And I'm going to want to try and set that up as close to here as I can. All right, and now what I'm going to want you to do is grab the flathead axe. And there are a couple of different, we basically have 3 different commands that we're giving to our teammate here. All right, there's going to be hit. Right, that means I'm ready. You hit that thing, right? And you're basically hitting right there using the flathead, right? There's going to be drive. And drive means you keep going at your pace, okay? And then stop. Very straightforward. Don't do it anymore. You might hurt me, all right? So hit, drive, stop. Now while we're setting this, be aware as the person striking, I'm going to be moving. Alright, I'm actually going to be, like, this is going to be coming around because I'm going to have this up close right here, and this is going to start coming around. And as it's coming around, I'm actually going to be trying to pry it and get through a little bit better as we go. So you're going to need to move with it, alright? As well, right now, I've got the adze protecting my wrist, right? Now, there is a chance that the tool comes off and hits my fingers. We're talking about a couple of days off of work. Over here, we're talking about a retirement, right? So we want to be careful with how we do it. We want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves as we go. All right? You ready? All right. So we're going to go, I'm going to get my visor down just for protection. I'm going to set myself, get a good footing. All right, you ready? Hit. 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 Getting in there yet? What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to force this around. We're going to try this side to start with because I think I can get in better here.
There's door drag.
Is that? Yeah. I'm going to get in that side. All right. Now I want you to hit. Hit. Oh. That's all right. It's just a knuckle. Hit. 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 There we go. Hit. 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 Hit.
I think so.
No. Hit. Drive. All right. Good. Okay. Now we've got the tool in. I'd actually probably keep one in. So what I want to do is I actually want to get this tool a little bit further in. As I'm going, I can kind of wiggle it a bit and make some room. And then, well, we've already got it, so the entire force can be basically breaking it through there. Once you've got this, the edge of the tool past the top here, it's a real easy force, right? So you saw how, again, like basically how the commands worked, right? How we were nice and close up here. I had my tool. Now the typical way we do start is like this, because we get it around here, and now basically, if I come around to this side, use your mechanical advantage to push it towards the door, right? If I needed a little bit more mechanical advantage, why don't you come back here? What I want you to do is, all right, if I've got the axe head right in this area here, I've actually got a little bit more prying power, right? So that can only work if you've got your beveled edge going in this way, right? But you see, sometimes we have to think on the fly. Is it going in? No, it wasn't going in for me, right? As soon as I switched around the other way, you saw how fast we were able to make it in there, right? We actually were able to break the locking mechanism without applying much force at all, all right? Beyond that, once I get the door force, it's going to go in. Our next concern is going to be door control. Right? We want to make sure, because every time we open up a building, every time we open a door, we're creating a flow path, right? That flow path is now feeding air, oxygen to that fire. We need to control it. Who carries webbing in the closet? Everyone? Good. Webbing can be used awesome for door control. And all you do with that is a girth hitch around the knob, right? Somebody pass me their webbing. Perfect. So, if I had another firefighter here, I'll just take my webbing, right, just around like that, through, pull. I can stand off to the side while they're doing it. They force the door, I pull it back closed, right? I know that we've now got door control. Once you force the door, you're going to want to take a look inside, see what you're dealing with, what are the smoke conditions. Number one place we can often find people outside of the bedroom is going to be right by doors, right? So there's a good chance. Pop your head in, take a quick look around. You'll be in full SCBA if the house is on fire and there's any chance of smoke coming at you. Remember to control that door. Keep it closed until you're ready for ventilation or entry, right? Like the first parts all apply. We still want to try before we try, right? We still want to size up, right? When I'm sizing up, what am I looking at? The door. Yeah.
The hinges.
We start out big. I'm looking at the building construction, right? What have I got? Am I looking at bricks? You know, so are we masonry? Are we wood frame? Are we heavy timber? I move inward. I look at the jam. I look at the frame. What's the frame made of? Steel, some kind of wood, a hardwood. And then I start moving in towards the locking mechanism. And I start trying to figure out how many locking mechanisms am I going to have to get myself around. Hopefully, it's your typical, maybe deadbolt with latch, right? Let's hope for that. It can be a hell of a lot more than that, though. Right? And if you start coming into a situation where you see that, like it is, like you're running into a lot of trouble, might be worth considering another option and another route, right? Is there another door we can use somewhere else? Is there a likelihood that that door is going to be less secure? If there is, maybe we should try that, right? All right. So again, like I said, shocking does nothing on an inward swinging door, right? Because on an outward swinging door. Outward swinging door, the door jamb is on the inside, right? So what I need to do to get into this is I am going to position my Halligan, again, just over the frame, right, or just over the locking mechanism, like this, with the adze flush, all right? Now, typically, like I said, there's a jam inside, right? I'm going to start driving in, all right, and I'll say hit, hit, hit. After 3 or 4 hits, I'm going to feel that jam. I'm going to know that I've gone about as far as I can. At that point, what I'm going to want to do is start a little down, a little up, and a little in to try and get my tool, my adze head, in and around the jam. And you see how I'm pulling that out now like that? All right? Because I'm going to want to get those forks right in there. The same way we did, the adze head in there, the same way we did with the forks, we want that to go in past the jam. You got the axe? You can be my tool person. Same commands, doesn't change, right? So again, we put our adze side in, just above the frame, all right? Hit, hit, right. Okay. So again, you're gonna want to just kind of make a bit of a move like that. Now, the idea now is to try and kind of go down and out as we go. All right. This is going to take a little bit more force to get this out. You can see already it's taking a little bit more. And one technique we can use. The reason I wanted that other Halligan. Where did I put the other Halligan? Right behind you here. And I don't know that it's going to work with this one, but when you have a Halligan that's shaped like that, if I had another one with the forks the same, these forks are a little small, you can actually marry the two together. Right? This one kind of stops in here, right? But when I marry them together, I can actually keep like that, and I've got a lot more of a pry bar that I can actually use. And I can actually come back here and kind of push like that, right? If this one doesn't go in far enough, just because, yeah, the forks are a little tight. Actually, and everybody wants to take a look, my adze is all the way in. I've left that tool sitting in there right now. And that adze is right in there. Don't worry about it being too far in. And I'll show you why. As I'm doing this, I just pull and break. Wow. So just pull down and break forward, break that one.
Sure.